Well, welcome back to 0 to 60. What are we doing, David?
Today we've got to do the first oil change on the S62 since the rod bearings were done, now that it's got a few kilometres on it over the weekend.
So this is where we find out really how the rod bearing process went, because I've read about people, they'll do the rod bearings, they think it's all good, they do the first oil change, and then it's full of metal.
Yeah.
So, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So first of all, we've just got to pull the sump plug out, which might look a bit weird with a rattle gun. But this sump plug has seen better days. I've got a replacement to go into it, to replace it with. But yeah, in the last video, you might have actually seen by doing it by hand, it was starting to strip, and actually the ugger-duggers from the gun actually pulled it out. So I'm going to go straight to the gun today.
It's just spinning, isn't it?
It's going to strip it. Maybe it needs a T45 jammed in there.
All right, we did just crack it with the rattle gun again, and I think it just works because you can put so much upwards force. But let's take her out. See how much oil we drip down.
That's terrible.
Done like a pro. Oil looks clean though.
It's pretty clean, although I can see bits floating around.
No.
Yeah, on my fingertips. A couple of metallics.
Okay. I hope that's bubbles.
Yeah, if that was all metal, it'd be not ideal. Although it does look quite... No, it's got to be bubbles.
Yeah. So while the rest of that is running out, though it's nearly all done, didn't see any nasties yet, we'll get the oil filter out and we'll check that one as well, because really that is where, that'll do, that is where the metal should be, if it's going to be anywhere. It's got the end caps broken off. Is that bits of metal?
Wow.
It is? What was in it before, isn't it?
Yeah, quite big chunks.
They're not rod bearings, are they?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, so you can see that big flake there? And then there's these little tiny black dots as well. I'd say the big flake is metal, and then the black dots, they don't look metallic. Yeah, look at that piece up there. Actually, that just moved.
Is it metal, or is it fibre?
It could be metal, but very, very thin.
Can you bend it? Oh,
yeah. Bend it quite easily, actually.
Is there 3 of them down the bottom there?
1, 2. Yeah, that one was a bit more rigid. Oh, yeah, she's a lot stronger, that big one.
It's metal?
Yeah.
Damn it! That's not good.
It's not good at all.
I don't think it's bearings though. I reckon it's...
Whoa!
I reckon it's timing chain guides.
Okay, that one there is very soft.
It's not silicone, is it?
That bit there.
When we put the sump back on.
That one maybe could be.
You need to maybe put all the metal bits aside.
Okay, yeah, that. So the really big one isn't metal.
A silicone?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Thank God, alright. However, the ones that are still quite big for metal do appear to be metal. So, I'll get the silicone off. So, that one there, yeah, you can tell straight away when you touch it, it's like touching metal.
Okay.
Whereas the silicone isn't.
Yeah, but open this up, because it's... Put all the metal bits in that dish and just get a collection of what's in there. Well, that took a long time, but you've gone through the whole filter and there was a little bit of silicone, which would be probably around the upper sump that we've put in.
Yep.
There was still a fair bit of carbon deposit in the filter, but you change oil once. This is the second oil change since you've had it. So that's 2 frequent oil changes. The oil looks pretty clean apart from a little bit of black in the filter. I'm not stressed about the black or the carbon build-up stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't look sinister, that black stuff, whatever it is.
But the metal that we saw when we first opened the filter, how many pieces did you end up collecting?
It's the same type of metal, which almost looks like flakes.
It's the same type as what you found when you first
the very first oil change,
filter,
which is what made me do the rod bearings.
Yeah.
There's probably 8 pieces. I've gone through every channel.
And they're probably 1/2 mil in diameter-ish.
Yeah, and slightly different shapes and sizes.
Like they're not like, it's not like bearing material
No, so
in there.
It matches what the shapes and sizes that we found the very
Last
first
time.
oil change, which is what made me do the rod bearings.
So there's chunks of metal coming out of the engine, but it's probably, because the bearings looked really good last time.
Yes.
And it's not like normally the bearings you get it's like dust.
Yeah, like glitter, like tiny
Yeah.
pieces of glitter.
Flakes, where this is chunks.
Yeah.
Almost like
I'll-
the timing chain slapping on something.
That's the only other thing I can really think of, because it's not bearings, because it's the same type of metal that come out, and the bearings that come out weren't too bad, and also the rod caps looked perfect.
Or are these like metal flakes that are in the oil cooler from someone drilling something?
Oil cooler.
If something's been drilled and then that got in the oil filter system, like braided line, like if when you cut braided line, you know how all that metal
Lots
from the
of
braided line, or if you don't flush the lines fully, this is what you see.
That is a possibility. I feel like it would be from the timing chain, because the tension is notorious on these engines.
Does it feel like aluminium or does it feel like stainless steel?
It's very hard. However, a small piece of aluminium would be that hard as well.
Do you see if it's magnetic?
Yeah, have you got a magnet?
There's no way the GoPro is going to pick up these very small bits that you've wiped on the inside. No.
Looks like alloy.
Okay. So it's not magnetic.
No. I think I might have had another one on my hands somewhere just before.
All right, I guess the last thing to do is pour that pan out and see if there's anything nasty in the pan.
Yeah, or any of that glitter we were just talking about.
And this was definitely cleaned before we used it today.
And I'd say that looks better than it did last time.
Oh, hell yeah, but
However,
what is it?
I think there is still a bit down the bottom there.
Yep, there is copper flake.
So where is it coming from?
Well, it looks like copper. The oil it could just be aluminium that the oil makes look gold.
Okay, yeah, quite a bit of... Ah, that is moving with the magnet.
It's magnetic.
You see it?
Yep.
Yep, that's moving. Huh. Wow. So that is magnetic, that's metal.
Well, it's not alloy.
Yeah, sorry.
It's steel. So is that rod bearings?
I mean, there's a lot less than there was last time. However, it's obviously done a lot less kilometres than last time.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's all up there where it was running out. That's all.
Metallic.
Yeah, all that glitter moves with the magnet.
I wonder if the chain is rubbing on something. Because the chain, as the chain breaks down, it would be metallic. Like the chains aren't slapping, but they are just rubbing on something. Unless the guides have worn all the way through and they've still got tension. Because once you wear through the plastic, you'll start wearing through the metal.
Yes, which does happen. But again, I thought you would hear the metal on metal noise.
I really don't know.
Although I guess it should have plenty of lubrication with a good oil.
Yeah,
you deaden the...
You wouldn't hear it, would you?
Because it wouldn't go ting ting ting.
It'd be a constant rub.
Which over the noise of this, with the extractors and stuff. If any of you guys are more familiar with this generation of BMW engine and think that sounds plausible, then please let me know.
Yeah.
I wasn't too concerned with the pieces that came out in the filter because there wasn't that much, and I figured there's going to be residual pieces left from whatever was going on previously.
But that's still a fair bit of metal.
Yeah, all in all, that's quite a lot of metal. Yeah, it's up there as well. So there is quite a lot has come out.
All right, so terrible camera angle, but we have just filled up that will probably do, I think, filled up a oil analysis sample with the worst of the oil, which I know you're not supposed to do, but the oil's not been in there very long. So we'll send that off. That's a Castrol one, isn't it?
It is.
So we'll send that off to Castrol, see if they can tell us what type of metal that is, and that might give us a bit better idea whether it's just what it is. So yeah, this is a bit of a sobering moment, Dave.
You can say that again.
Yeah, the chunks, we're talking 6 or 8 chunks that come out of the filter. I mean, there was lots of chunks the first time you checked the filter.
Lots and lots, yeah.
When you got this car, there was a hole punched in the transmission cooler where the screws had been rubbing on the bottom of the transmission cooler. So we figured maybe that these chunks had come from that. They're not magnetic, those chunks, so they are aluminium. The trans cooler is aluminium. But whatever metal is in the bottom of the pan...
That's definitely magnetic.
Yeah. Again, there's not as much there as there was last time, but that looks like bearing material to me. I don't know if these... I don't know if that could be cam bearings. Do these have cam bearings? Cam guides that are chewing themselves?
They probably would, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Could it be something from the Vanos?
I don't know.
So Ali, the gentleman that used to have this car, he said that the Vanos was rebuilt by the previous owner, and the previous owner also told him that the chains were done.
I think Ali might have actually said he did the chains. But it was something weird, like I think he only did the chain, he didn't do the guides or something like that. Like he just replaced the chain, because the chain itself isn't a crazy expensive part, and people say the timing chain guides let go. Sorry, the timing chains let go. So it was something...
I can't remember. I didn't think he did them, but yeah, who knows? It is difficult. You don't know what's really been done.
Yeah, regardless, there is no invoices or proof that
the chains have been done.
Yeah, the chains or guides have been done.
So maybe that it is rubbing on something, and that's chain material. It looks gold, but that would be the oil making it look that colour. It could be silver. Like if you put silver flakes in there, it would look gold in the oil.
Yeah, if you cleaned off everything, it would probably go back to silver.
I think what we just sort of said off camera, we're going to send that off to Castrol. That's the worst of the oil. Like it's the bottom of the drained oil. So it's got the most amount of metal in it. Hopefully they can identify what metals it is.
Yeah.
And that might help us try and work out where it's coming from in the engine. But something's definitely not right.
But there also, I don't think there'll be any of the big metal flakes in there.
No, that's true.
It'll just be that glitter. But still, if something in the engine is flaking that much, there should be other
bits of it,
debris that would be mixed in with all the oil. So hopefully that's in there as well.
Oh, dude, it could be nothing, and it could just be the engine having a good flush for the first time in a long time.
That could be possible, couldn't it?
Like the rod bearings were not that worn.
They weren't. They weren't too bad.
Gives me the impression that the engine's not had that much of a hard time, or else there'd be more wear on the bearings.
And I thought the bearings were going to be destroyed with so many kilometres on the engine.
Yeah.
Never been done before.
They sort of look like they're done 80,000 Ks, not 300. So the rod bearings were impressive, but there is something else wrong with it. And timing chains, obviously you don't want it to let go and slip the timing.
God, no.
And you don't want the cams to lock up, but...
I know there are a few people following the videos on this car that have E39 M5s themselves. So if you guys have experienced like issues with the timing chain guides, do you get a bit of a warning before they let go? Do they start slapping? Do they make any audible noises? Because that was the reason why we initially left the supercharger belt off after the rod bearing install. Because that's a noisy bloody unit. We wanted to actually hear everything on the engine. And honestly,
when you don't have the supercharger on, the engine's quiet.
I thought it sounded
exhaust.
There was one sort of one noise, but that was just the Vanos pump, I believe.
Yeah.
One of the Vanos units. But there was no slapping, ticking, knockings. I'm really at a loss at what it could be.
Yeah, it really sucks. Because you were looking forward to Euro Day and giving it a bit of a spanking on the track.
That was kind of what all of these crazy nights have been for.
Getting it registered for Euro Day, but it's probably not wise to take it if there could be a serious problem.
Definitely not wise.
All right, let's wait and see what the results are. Guys, if you've got any thoughts on what this these very small, like powder-like flakes might be. I don't believe they're rod bearings. It's got new rod bearings in there. The rod bearings that come out when we saw this last time were hardly worn. It's coming from somewhere else, and it is magnetic.
When you put new bearings in, do they, this could be stupid, but do they have to bed in? Will they?
Only if you got your clearances wrong. And that'll be them getting chewed up. So this would happen if the clearances are wrong, but we checked it with plastic gauge. This isn't a good one. This isn't a good one. All right, we'll end it off there. We're going to put new filter in it, more oil, so we can move it around, but I don't think it needs to visit the rev limiter anytime soon.
Probably not. Probably not.
And we might take the supercharger belt off again. Yeah. All right, guys. Yeah, sorry for a bit of a downer video, but this is the reality of playing with this sort of stuff. We took about 10 steps forward last week with it.
Yeah.
And we've got to take one step back. So it could be worse.
Yeah. And look, as always, do appreciate you watching. So thank you very much.
We will see you tomorrow. Peace. You can take the X5 to Euro Day. I mean, it's can we fit that to the X5? Oh, God. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll catch you on the next one.
Peace out.